He thought he could destroy my career with a secret dossier, but he had no idea I was about to turn his own weapon against him. Sometimes the most devastating revenge comes not from anger, but from patience. This is the story of how one man's betrayal became the blueprint for his own downfall, and how 3 years of loyalty can transform into the perfect storm of calculated justice. It started innocently enough. Picture a young cinema worker, just 4 or 5 years older than his teenage colleagues, stepping into what seemed like any other entry-level job. But experience has a way of setting you apart, and in a world of first-time workers, maturity becomes your greatest asset. Within 6 months, I had earned something precious, a promotion to supervisor. The general manager didn't just like me, he trusted me. When projection duties needed covering, they called me. When chaos erupted during busy periods, I was the calm in the storm. When managers stepped out, I held down the fort. I was what they called a Swiss Army knife, versatile, reliable, indispensable. 2 years passed like scenes in a movie montage. For floor managers, all grateful for how I made their jobs easier. When I worked, they could breathe. When it wasn't busy, they didn't have to work at all. Then came the announcement that changed everything. One of the floor managers was leaving in 3 months, and without anyone saying it aloud, we all knew the truth. That promotion had my name written on it. They always hired internally, and I stood head and shoulders above everyone else. That's when I met my villain. Let's call him Blobby. Picture this man, short, round, balding, with a single earring that he thought made him look cool. Think of the most cringeworthy boss you've ever had, the kind who thinks he's everyone's friend while slowly sharpening the knife behind his back. Blobby had one job that defined him: stock takes every Thursday. For 2 years, I had worked Thursday mornings in projection, which meant Thursday nights were sacred, my time with friends, my version of Saturday night since I worked most weekends. These Thursday drinks weren't just routine, they were my lifeline. Then came the request that started it all. "Blobby's sick," the GM said one Thursday morning. "Could you handle the stock take? 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., a brutal shift that meant counting inventory after closing." But I said yes. The brownie points would be worth it, or so I thought. The next week, instead of my usual projection shift, I found myself scheduled for stock duty again. When I asked why, Blobby's response was delivered with a smile that should have been my first warning. "Listen, I'm actually doing you a favor," he said, leaning back in his chair. "When that manager position opens up, knowing stock and orders will look fantastic. You'll get the job 100%. I gritted my teeth and went along with it. It made sense, didn't it? Learn every aspect of the business. So Thursday after Thursday, I found myself doing Blobby's job while he sat at his desk with his feet up, watching me work. After a month, the stock take became second nature, a piece of cake, as they say. 3 months passed. 1 week remained before our departing manager's last day. The interview process began, but something felt different, wrong. The owners decided to sit in personally, something that had never happened before. Then came the ambush. "How do you expect to be our manager if your timekeeping is so poor?" They had everything: a list of every time I'd clocked in 5 or 7 minutes late, surveillance footage of me taking deliveries without a high-visibility jacket, emails from difficult customers taken completely out of context. Every minor incident over 3 years, twisted and weaponized against me. I stopped fighting. The writing was on the wall. My coworker got the promotion instead, and honestly, she deserved it. She was excellent at her job and would make a fine manager. But something inside me had broken. After giving everything to this company for 3 years, I found myself doing the bare minimum. Why go the extra mile when it clearly wasn't appreciated? The revelation came by accident. Still stuck on Thursday stock duty, I was in the office inputting figures when I accidentally closed the program. I opened Blobby's folder to restart it and saw something that made my blood run cold, a file labeled discrepancies. Inside that file was another folder, with my name on it. My hands trembled as I clicked it open. 5 subfolders stared back at me: lates, dangerous delivery, potential stealing, associates, and hungover. Every late arrival documented. Screenshots of me chatting with coworkers during slow periods. Photos from my Facebook showing me out the night before work shifts. Security footage of me leaning over a closed register, twisted to look suspicious when I was simply doing my job. This man had been stalking me, building a dossier, sabotaging my career for months. Finishing that shift was torture. Every fiber of my being wanted to confront him, to tear that earring right out of his ear. But I played it cool, bided my time. Monday came, and I went straight to the GM. When I explained what I'd found, his face told me everything I needed to know. "I only found out after the interviews," he said quietly. "Blobby was always bringing up issues with you. I don't know why he hated you, but..." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I'm leaving too, and if he becomes the new GM, your life here will be unbearable." That's when I faced a choice. File a complaint. The owners had already used his evidence against me. Take him to court. Too much hassle for too little payoff. Or I could get creative. Blobby wanted that GM position more than anything. He was the front runner, practically guaranteed the job. I could spend 2 months job hunting, or I could spend them burying the man who tried to bury me. I chose the latter. The opportunity came wrapped in Blobby's own arrogance. During one of our stock shifts, he made an offhand comment that sealed his fate. "We need to nail this stock take down to the last popcorn kernel," he said casually. "The yearly stock take is in 6 weeks, and the owner is doing it personally. She's a real ballbreaker." I knew all about her. She was the same woman who had torn me apart in that interview. "Don't worry, Blobby," I replied with a smile. "Those numbers will be perfect." Then came his Oscar-worthy performance: "You're a good worker. It's a travesty you didn't get the manager job, but when I get the hot seat, you'll be made manager as soon as a position opens up. No interview required." What a piece of work. Here's the beautiful thing about trust: once you have it, people stop checking your work. Blobby had such confidence in my abilities that he never verified anything I did. I handled the orders, counted the stock, balanced the books. And that's when I began my masterpiece. Every Wednesday, I placed our Friday delivery orders. Normally, I'd eyeball upcoming movies and order just the right amount, not too much, not too little. But over the next 6 weeks, I started adding 25% to every single order. I'd show Blobby the receipts, he'd sign them without a second glance. Then, when doing the Thursday stock count, I'd input our usual amounts into the system. The computer balanced perfectly, but our storage rooms were bursting with excess inventory. Week after week, I watched our stock rooms fill to the breaking point. If Blobby had bothered to actually look, just once, I would have been caught red-handed. But he was too lazy, too comfortable in his assumption that I was his loyal little worker bee. The final week arrived. Time for the year-end stock take that would determine Blobby's fate. I balanced everything in the computer as usual, but before we finished, I planted one last seed. "Check the pre-sales tomorrow," I told him. "We're going to have a busy weekend. Maybe email our suppliers for a bit extra, it'll all get used anyway, and we're looking perfect on the stock count." Now, remember, I'd already been adding 25% for a month. But Blobby, in his infinite arrogance, decided to go bigger. He sent an emergency email to our suppliers requesting they double our standing order for the next day. Checkmate. That night, I went home and typed my resignation letter. I asked the departing GM if I could leave immediately due to unforeseen circumstances. Being the good man he was, he agreed, gave me his personal number, an amazing reference, and thanked me for all my hard work. Like Andy Dufresne crawling through that tunnel in Shawshank Redemption, I had crawled through a sea of trouble and emerged clean on the other side. Later, over drinks with a trusted coworker, I learned about the aftermath. The next day's delivery couldn't fit in all 4 storage rooms combined. Instead of our usual 3 weeks of stock, we had about 8 weeks' worth. The yearly stock take. It went until 3 in the morning. The numbers were a disaster, tens of thousands off. Blobby was trapped in a corner of his own making. He could take the blame and look incompetent, or blame me and look even worse considering his role in sabotaging my promotion. Either way, he was finished. Word through the grapevine confirmed what I already knew: Blobby didn't get the GM position. Within 6 months, he was selling furniture at some strip mall store. I never spoke to him about what happened, but I hope, somewhere in that calculating little mind of his, he knows exactly who orchestrated his downfall. Sometimes justice isn't served by the courts or karma or divine intervention. Sometimes justice is served by patience, precision, and the beautiful irony of watching someone's own weapons turn against them. Blobby thought he could destroy my career with surveillance and sabotage. He never imagined that his victim might be taking notes, learning his methods, and preparing a masterclass in revenge that would make his dossier look like child's play. In the end, he didn't just lose a promotion, he lost everything he'd worked for, brought down by the very trust and laziness that had made him dangerous in the first place. And me? I walked away with my integrity intact, my head held high, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys really do win.